I've made music on all kinds of machines. In the 90s at school, I remember using a Juno 60 and a Roland R8 with an ancient DAW called Studio Vision Pro by Opcode. Later, the concept of groove boxes came to the market and became ubiquitous as drum machines and samplers. Even though today I use mostly hardware pieces to create my music, my DAW is still a big part of my workflow, and today I thought it might be useful to do a whole track with you right in Ableton Live with stock plugins. We're going to use some MIDI controllers to input notes and manipulate effects and trigger clips and scenes. The goal is to demystify a little bit the process and pull back the curtain on some of the trade secrets that make it easy to set yourself up for success when you're finishing a track. But first, I want to talk about Prince. I know it's cliche to sit in a brownstone in Minneapolis and pontificate on the purple one, so I'll keep it quick. Susan Rogers, Prince's engineer and longtime collaborator, used to talk about what she called gesture sketches. She said Prince would know his kit inside out, and that kit might change a bit, but it was basically the same with his Lindrum and all his things. Most of his best-known records are with sort of the same kit, and they came to define his sound. Prince would go in with his kit already laid out in front of him and just jam until he had a track. And he wasn't a perfectionist. He wasn't trying to change the way we think about definitions or genres. It wasn't rocket surgery. It didn't have to be. He would just record these gesture sketches, and that was just him riffing on his kit in his vocabulary, his repertoire, his bag of tricks or whatever. And to the rest of us, it sounds like an amazing full track with effortless songwriting. This gesture sketch approach is only possible when you have really well-defined parameters. Your musical vocabulary, what you want to do within the length of the song, the kit that you use should speak to your identity. You should always be collecting samples and machines, gadgets that make the noises that resonate with you, that sound like you. That being said, once you've selected all your sounds and defined the raw materials you're going to use to build, the process itself will reveal which of your choices was most effective. Some kick drums will cut through the mix better. Some pads will be useful only when you don't have some FM synths that are all atonal hogging up the spectrum. These are things that you learn with practice, experience, and hopefully I can help you get started. This is the House of Jack. All right, so here we are in Ableton Live. First of all, I have a kick with a bit of a bass frequency under it. People call it a rumble kick. I'm not going to explain to you how to do it. Go take a rumble kick tutorial. There's hundreds, literally dozens, hundreds. Just Google Techno kick, rumble kick tutorial, whatever. So this is my kick, which I like to have my kick going because the metronome's quite annoying to work with. And then next to it we have sort of a rack that you can download in the description. It just sounds like this. It's an FM synth, but when you play a chord, it sounds quite nice. So it has the MIDI chord effect here, which I have turned off. I'll turn it on so it'll capture this chord here, just on one note. There we go. And then you got some macros over here mapped where you can filter Alright, so what I'm going to do is just record here and get some MIDI notes in there so that we have something to work with. I am aware that was sloppy as hell, but that's what quantize is for. We're going to quantize this to 16th notes, and we're going to grab a very short part of it. Let's see here. Well, not that short. I like that. We'll use that. So we're just going to place the one marker here. Quite dry and pedestrian, so we're going to go and put another rack on it. This is another rack that you can download. Both of these racks will be available in the description. This is sort of a tape delay, imitation tape delay kind of thing. So what do we have here? We have ping pong delay, a little bit of filtering and EQing, set to dotted eighth note, I guess, and some reverb. So actually it sounds more like, which is quite interesting. Again, you can download in the description this chord for the operator and the effect I just put on it, and it'll sound exactly like this if you set the filters up right. So, let's hear it. Cool. Try some other spots. Yeah, it's a little funkier there. Let's try that. Yeah, I like it there, the way the delay works with it. So, alright, we're going to unplug this keyboard. We don't need them anymore. We got MIDI notes in there, and we're going to plug in this Akai pad controller that I got off eBay for $45. We're going to use the knobs and the pads here to be expressive. Firstly, MIDI assigning in Ableton is quite easy, so we'll go to there, go to the filter cutoff, which I've already assigned, but I'll show you where it's at. So here's my filter cutoff macro, and it's assigned to this knob down here. So the delay on the rack has also a cutoff filter, but a filter cutoff, but it's for the delay, the actual delay itself. So we're going to assign that to the knob next to the one I just assigned. Let's see here. All right, now we can filter the delay itself. This allows us to be a bit more expressive with the microtonalities. Again, that's just one chord, and we've used one chord on purpose because the delay and the reverb give us a bit of microtonality we can play with. Really, what we're doing here is creating a sonic space, sort of a room that we can bounce things around in. We can play with the limits of that space, and that's the fun part. That's sort of the musical part. So again, we have a filter cutoff on that lead synth, and also one specifically on the delay for that synth. The filter cutoff upward goes, I think we can turn it up a little bit. Goes to a high pass, and then downward a low pass. So I like it somewhere down there. Alright, so let's look over here. What do we have here? We've got a closed hat that I will program on the offbeat. A bit of funky back and forth there. Cool. So this guy, I've already programmed his decay to one of these knobs. I think it's this one. Yeah. So that's a lot of fun. He's a longer sample. When you pull the decay down, again, he's got a bit of reverb on here, so you can really make him out in the mix without the reverb. That's what it sounds like dry there. But we're going to leave that reverb on there because next to it, we have some more closed 909 hats, which we are going to program in 16th notes. Alright, let's hear well, I have to reach over and use the mouse, right? But not really, because today we're going to be using scenes. I don't know if any of you guys use these scenes over here, but you can launch all the clips on a row at once with what's called scenes here. So I'm going to launch the only scene we have here. And that launches everything together. So what are we going to do? We're going to duplicate this scene, and then I'll just take out the kick drum on that one. And then we can go... Let's make another one of these scenes and put a ride cymbal in. I'm going to put him in eighth notes and then sidechain it to the kick drum. Oops. Sidechain to drum rack 1. Okay. Alright, so now we have 3 scenes. One is the one we started on, one is sort of a breakdown, and then one with the rides. So let's turn the MIDI assign on and assign them here. Oops. Sorry about that, y'all. Let's assign these scenes to the pads here on the controller. So scene 1 would be that one, breakdown, and then come back with the ride. All right, so let's try it out. So you see the physicality of just having a $50 controller here has allowed us to sort of emulate hardware and get a groove going just by having human control actually playing the thing like an instrument. This is what I hope to impart with my channels, a bit of musicality. You know, the human feeling of touching the knob and having to go a little bit too far by accident. You get used to that, you start to like it after a while, because all of this automation with these clean up and down lines or curves or whatever you use, I can tell it was automated. I can tell you didn't want to record it by hand for 6 minutes or whatever. I can tell you just drew it with a fucking pencil. So let's try not to do that. Let's set up our things so we can have a sonic space, make a playground for ourselves. First, find your toys, find your instruments, your sounds, the things you want to use, the things that represent you. Then get your kit together, get to know your kit, get to know what works and what doesn't, and then drop them in when you're in the mood to play and just have a go. Have a play. That's what music's about. It's supposed to be fun. We're supposed to be enjoying ourselves. So